Good morning, Year 4s, and welcome to our maths lesson for today. So the learning objective today is to subtract fractions. And our success criteria is to understand what subtraction means, to identify different models, and to reason and problem solve. So to start with, we will be doing our math starter. So pause the video and have a go at these questions. Okay, excellent. So these are your answers. So for the first one, we had partitioning, where you had to put the numbers back together again. The second one, we had column subtraction. The third one, we had column multiplication. Number 4, we should have known that one mentally from our times tables practice. Then number 5, we should have remembered that any number divided by itself is going to equal 1. So you didn't really need to use any method for that because it's just a known fact that any number divided by itself equals 1. Okay, so if we look at our vocabulary today, we've got subtract. So we need to remember what subtract means. And that means we are taking away one part from another, from a whole number. And then we've got numerator and denominator and fractions. Okay, so to begin with, our big question is, I have a whole Kit Kat. So here's my whole Kit Kat. If I eat 1/4, what fraction of the Kit Kat will I have left? So it's really important now that you have a pen and paper in front of you. And I would like you to think about what the question is asking you to do. You can obviously draw the Kit Kat on a piece of paper, or you can draw a different model to represent the Kit Kat. But I'd like you to find an answer. See if you can think of a number sentence that would match that word problem. And find an answer and obviously write your answer in a sentence as well. So pause the video now and work through that problem. Okay, excellent. So if we started looking, so here I drew another model for the Kit Kat, but obviously if you drew a Kit Kat, that's fine. So we need to look at what the question is asking us. So we've got a whole Kit Kat, and here we've got a whole Kit Kat. So this whole bar is being split into quarters, and the whole bar is representing a Kit Kat. So if I eat 1/4, that means we're taking some of the Kit Kat away because we are eating it. So what we can do is we can cross out 1/4 because we know that one of these represents 1/4, and the Kit Kat is split into quarters as well because it's 4 parts. So if we ate 1 Kit Kat, or 1/4 of the Kit Kat, you can cross that out. That's what we've eaten. Now you can see that we are left with 3 quarters, 1, 2, 3 quarters, and then 1, 2, 3 quarters. So the answer is I have 3/4 of a Kit Kat left. Okay, and then our sum, so our number sentence, will look something like this. So we started, it's really important that we're starting with the whole part of the Kit Kat. So we started with 4/4, 4 quarters. Then we subtracted 1/4 because we ate 1/4. And then we were left with 3 quarters. Okay, and I want you to see if you can notice a pattern or something very similar to yesterday's lesson when we added fractions. What do you notice about the numerator and the denominators when we're subtracting fractions? Okay, and what you would have noticed is that the denominator to the bottom number also stays the same. That does not get subtracted. So your answer wouldn't have been 3/0. We wouldn't have subtracted 4, take away 4, because we still have the quarters. We're still dealing with a quarter in the question. So 4/4 take away 1/4 equals 3/4. We're just subtracting the numerator, the top number. Okay, so another way we could have written this is that we also know that 4/4 is also equal to 1 because we've got 1 whole. So you might have chosen to write your answer like this. So 1 take away 1/4 equals 3/4. Now it's not so easy to see that you've got a 4 here and subtract the 1 from it, but you know at the same time that 1 whole in this case is also representing 4/4. So you could write your sum either way. You could use the number 1 because it is a whole Kit Kat, or you can show it as a fraction. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now on your own is to have a look at these 3 models. And can you think about what subtraction sentence you could write for these, and then also think of an answer? So we've just done an example on the previous page of how we would subtract fractions and how we would write the number sentence. So now I'd like you to look at these 3 and see if you can write a number sentence for each of those with an answer. Okay, so what we would do first is we would first have to see what fraction we have. So what amount are we actually dealing with? So for the blue one, we have to count how many parts we have. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we know we're dealing with the 7th fraction because there's 7 parts. So you can see that the whole fraction has been colored in blue. So to begin with, we had 1 whole. So you could either write the number 1, but I'm going to write 7/7. Because we can see that 7/7 have been shaded in blue. And then, how do we know that what has been taken away from this fraction? So you can see here that it has been crossed out. So we've got 1/7, 2/7, 3/7 have been crossed out. So we would subtract 3/7. And then how much is left? We can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I just had to highlight that. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 7s left. And again, if you're just looking at the actual sum, you can see that 7 take away 3 is 4. And then the denominator stays the same. So it's 7. So the answer is 4/7. Okay, then if we look at this one as well, we can see that we've also got a whole circle. We've got a whole number. And our circle has been split into 8. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to write 8/8 because that is my whole fraction. And then what has been taken away? So we can count 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8. So we're subtracting 5/8. And then we can see that what is left is 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. And again, 8 take away 5 is 3. And then the denominator stays the same. Okay, then for this one, it's slightly different because we don't have all of the parts shaded in red. We still have to count the whole fraction though. So we've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We still have 6, but we only had 4/6 to begin with because that's what's shaded in red. So the fraction is 6, but we only had 4 in the beginning. So these 2 are still part of the fraction, but they do not exist at the moment. We've only got these 4. So we've got 4/6. We've got to take away one of those 6. And then what we've got left is 3/6. 1/6, 2/6, 3/6. And again, 4 take away 1 is 3, and then 6. Okay, excellent. So like I showed you yesterday with addition, sometimes we do not have the shapes given to us. We only have the actual sum. So I'd like you to pause the video now and see if you can get the answers to these fraction subtraction sentences. Okay, fantastic. So again, we know the rule for subtracting and for adding is we only subtract the numerator, the denominator stays the same. So we've got 5 take away 3, which is 2. And then the denominator stays the same, so we've got 2/7. Next one, we've got 3/4 take away 2/4. So 3 take away 2 is 1. And then we've got 1/4. And here we've got 7/8 take away 6/8. So 7 take away 6 is 1. So my answer is 1/8. And then we've got 9/10 take away 7/10. So 9 take away 7 is 2. So the answer is 2/10. And of course, if you needed to draw models to help you, that's absolutely fine as well. Okay, so another way that we can also represent or show subtraction with fractions is to do a part-whole model. So this time, because we're subtracting, we always have the whole number first. So this is representing 5/6. Take away a part of your fraction, so 2/6. And then that is going to equal the other part of your fraction. Okay, so we've got 5 take away 2 is 3. And then 6, because the denominator stays the same. So the answer here would be 3/6. And then you can see as well that if we had to turn this into an addition fraction sum, we know that 3/6 plus 2/6 equals 5/6. Okay, and then for the last activity, we are going to look at a word problem with subtracting fractions. So we've got Sally eats 4/5 of a pizza, and she has 4/5 of a pizza. She eats 3/5. What fraction is left? Okay, and I'd actually like you to use the model below to help you work out this answer. Okay, guys, so this model was split into 6, so it should have been split into 5ths. So I hope that you managed to change that or spot my mistake. Okay, so we would have started with drawing a model of 4 5ths. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts, because we can see in the question that 5ths is what we are, that's the fraction that we're focusing on. Okay, so at this stage, we know that Sally has 4/5 of a pizza. So we can color in 1, 2, 3, 4. So the other 1/5, she might have eaten already, or maybe she had given the 1/5 to somebody else, or maybe she just got 4/5 of a pizza. Okay, so that's how much she has. Then it says that she eats 3/5. So we can cross out 3 of those fifths. So we can cross out 1/5, 2/5, and 3/5. And then what fraction is left? We've got 1/5 that is left. So this one we don't really need to focus on because it was once part of the pizza, but that wasn't in the actual word problem. So 1/5 of the pizza that she had is left. So the subtraction sentence would look like this: 4/5 take away 3/5 equals 1/5. Okay, and because it's a word problem, we need to give our answer in a sentence as well. So the question is, what fraction is left? Sally has 1/5 of the pizza left. Okay, excellent. So as a challenge question, I'd like you to think of a word problem that you could write for this model, this picture. So we've got an orange, and the orange is split into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts. So this is an 8th fraction. What word problem did you come up with for this picture? So pause the video and write down a problem. Okay, well done, year 4s. So I'm going to be adding this question into the quiz on Teams, and I'd like you to write down your answer in the quiz. So I'll be having a look at those. But what you need to do now is to go onto Microsoft Teams and do the quiz on subtracting fractions. You all did really well on your addition one, so I'm sure you're going to do just as well on your subtraction quiz as well. So So I am looking forward to looking and marking those. So have fun, year fours, and well done.